All right, well, thank you all for coming. Let's just get a little loosened up. All right. Who does not get excited when they hear this tune, huh? All right. So I want you to think about what's going on in this diagram. Raise your hand. Give me some thoughts when you see this. Planting a tree.
Teamwork.
Yeah, teamwork. Going green. Okay. I like it.
Planning growth, development, and succession.
Look at that. Yeah. So that's what I see. I see some plans to grow and to reap what you sow. What I like about this diagram is the very first part where you see the man preparing the soil. All right. So I want you in this moment just kind of prepare yourself. Prepare your heart, prepare your mind for some things that you're going to learn today. Okay? You're going to take some things from here. Are they good seeds? Are they bad seeds? You got to prepare the soil. You got to plant it. You got to nurture it. And then at the end, taste it, see if it's any good. All right? Like anything in life, you got to give it a try. Okay, so I'll challenge you to do that. Let's start with a story. So I'm a baseball coach. I have been for 10 years. I've got four boys. 2 I've taken all the way through the Little League system. And I've got my youngest, this one here. He's 7 in this photo. But I've had a chance to learn a lot of lessons just from coaching. There are a lot of other coaches that you coach with, a lot of different styles. So I'm going to share a story about a coach that I observed. So I was coaching another team, and he was coaching my oldest boy. And he was really good at the game of baseball. He knew how to teach it. He knew the very basic mechanics of baseball to help boys build a firm foundation to grow upon. He was really good at what he was doing. But throughout the year, throughout the season, he got very frustrated in the game, right? I mean, look, they weren't much older than this, maybe 2 years older than this, 9, 10-year-olds. And these guys would miss a ground ball, and he would just get so mad. And it was like, okay, maybe he's just first game. Next game, guys are swinging at high pitches. He's yelling at them from the third base coach box. We don't swing at high pitches. All year long, he was so frustrated with these boys. So frustrated. It appeared to me, I don't know, I wasn't in his mind, but it appeared to me that he was more concerned about how the parents and other coaches saw him as a coach. Like, he wasn't a good coach if a 10-year-old missed a ground ball. He wasn't a good coach if a 9-year-old swung at a high pitch, right? His frustration was like announcing to everybody, I'm better than this. They're not, right? But what did it do to the boys? It wiped those smiles right off their faces. They did not like that season, okay? So think about a coach. What's the role of a coach, right? The role of a coach, to be there for them, to teach them, to help them through those tough times when they're missing the ball. How well does that coach know each player? Their strengths, their weaknesses, how they like to be taught. I didn't plan on sharing this, but it just popped into my mind. There was a time when I was coaching this kid, and we were working on something, and I was teaching it. I was teaching it right. And his dad, it was in the garage, it was a one-on-one. His dad's here, another coach is here, and I looked up and I said, guys, help me say it differently because he's not hearing what I'm saying. And his dad spoke up, and boom, the kid started doing it perfectly, right? How well do you know your players to be able to speak their language, right? Connect with them so that they can do what you're teaching them to do. Coaching. Now, as a father, these are my kids, 6 of them. So you can imagine the 3 or 4 older had a different dad than those 2 little ones. I learned a few things along the way, right? Like 10 years of coaching, I got a little better as I went on. So these 3, 4 older kids, they got a dad that thought forcing them to do what I wanted was the way to parent. All right? I'm going to teach them how to be good young men. My wife's going to teach these young ladies how to be good women. And it was like this tug of war as they got a little older. This boy here, he liked to puff out that chest at a young age, like 11, 12, 13. He was trying to prove to me, Dad, I'm not you. I'm going to do it my way. And I remember one day going into my room and just going, why won't he listen to me? And I heard these words, it's not about you. As a father, it's not about me. Kind of like that coach, right? I was trying to get him to do what I wanted. I was throwing my own little adult fit when he didn't do what I wanted. It's not about you. And everything changed. That's why those 2 little ones got a different dad. Everything changed. It was now about how can I help you as you make choices in life? How can I be here to help clean up your messes? We have this motto at my house. Everyone makes messes, but slobs don't clean them up. And nobody likes a slob, right? Don't be ashamed of the mess you made. Let's clean it up. And sometimes you're going to need help cleaning it up. So as a dad, was I making a safe place for them to come to me for help? Dad, I made a mess. Right? Was I going to lose my mind when they said that, or was I going to say, let's go clean it up? Okay? Coaching, parents. So what's my role as a father? Right? Do I see my children as individuals? Because those 6 kids grew up in the same house with the same mom, the same dad, and they are all so different. Right? They're individuals. We got to see them as individuals. And then what environment do these players or children need to thrive? Right? All right, look at this slide. It's like a three-peat. All the same questions. What's the role of the leader in the organization or out on a job site? Give me some thoughts. What's the role of the leader?
Lead, coach, and mentor.
Yeah?
To be a guidepost.
Be a guidepost.
One thing was create a culture and environment of whatever I'm trying to, for the people to be successful.
Yeah. You know, one also valuable lesson I learned as a father was I knew I loved my kid, but he didn't. His experience was different than what I thought I was giving him. The way I spoke to him, the way I treated him, right? The lesson I learned in that moment of it's not about you, it was I no longer needed to prove how I was stronger, I was wiser. I'd done the kid thing already, listen to me. I no longer had to prove that because it wasn't about me, right? It was only prove to that kid how much I love him so that he felt safe coming to me for help. That's kind of what I'm hearing out on the job site, right? Yeah, we may not be able to do the touchy-feely kumbaya love thing out there, but there is an element of love in everything you do as a leader, right? Where are you coming from, right? Are you trying to force, command, and control people, or are you trying to support them and help them learn and grow, right? What's your role as a leader? So today, we're going to talk about, what do we got there? 5 bullet points. We're going to talk about why. Why being the most important thing. We're going to talk about your injury and illness prevention program. We'll talk about safety committees, accountability, and then rewarding safe work behavior. Okay, so those are the topics we're going to hit on. All through the lens of leadership, your role as a leader, how to develop other leaders, all right? All of this through that lens of leadership. So why? Somebody, raise your hand if you don't mind sharing. Give us a why in your life. It can be business related. Why did you start your business? Why did you get into construction? Why did you have a family? Give me a why. Share with us a why.
Sometimes those whys can be deep,
Whys are always deep.
very deep. Give my kids the environment for them to grow and be successful human beings. You know, that's why I'm here. That's why I constantly develop myself. That's why I, make sure I make good, solid financial decisions so I can support them.
Yeah. They are why you make a lot of the decisions you make.
Yes.
Why? We're either afraid to share or it's tough to put it into words. Right? Your why, it's so deep. It's how do I articulate that? Anybody heard of Simon Sinek? Yeah, all right. I love him. I'm going to share his golden circle. Simon Sinek is all about leadership, and he has this golden circle. He says everybody on the planet, and we'll just talk in terms of business. Every business on the planet knows what they do. Okay? Many know how they do it. Okay? These are what he calls your differentiators. You do it a little differently than your competitor. Use a different product, different material, whatever it is, how you do it, these are the things that you highlight as your differentiators. But Simon says that they buy why you do it. That the best, most successful organizations on the planet have figured out how to articulate why they do what they do, why they created the product they did, how it's going to benefit others. And they lead with why. People connect with that. They don't buy what you do, they buy why you do, especially the deeper connections. Right? There's a lot of what. I need a loaf of bread. I'm going to go to any store for that. But why I buy the suits that I buy or the shoes that I buy, right? We connect with Nike. We connect with Apple, right? We connect with their why. So why is most important. So now think about why safety. We are always talking about safety on a job site, are we not? We are always talking about safety on a job site. Here are some of the required trainings that OSHA has, right? OSHA requires fall protection training. But look at that. Fall protection is the most frequently cited violation. Fall protection. And then the eighth most frequently cited is fall protection training. Right? So we train on this. This says some of us don't train on it. We train on it, but we're still being cited for people not wearing fall protection. Heat illness. We train on it, it's required, but we're still seeing injury and death for heat illness. Hazard communication, same. Why? Why do we see these results when we're training on it all the time? Anybody got an idea? Why? Why do we still fail out in the field if we're training on this all the time? I think it's right here.
So I think it would be because we're not relaying the reason as to why the training matters. So because we don't know why the training matters or why the employees don't know why the training matters, then they don't care to follow the training.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's spot on.
Well, I was going to say was the thing that we tell the guys in the field, or our main reason for this training, is so that you guys can go home and be with your parents or family or friends and be safe. You know, that's the number one goal. You know, to not be hurt on the field,
Mm-hmm.
on the job, or to not wear your hard hat, or to not have fall protection.
Right. You're trying to make it clear how much you care. Please listen to this training. That's it. We have got to figure out how to start with why. I've been to so many trainings, so many meetings where we start with what we're doing, how we're going to do it. People check out or check in the box, right? But if we could start with why. So check this out. We started a training. It was actually one of our safety committees. We had a crew come in, and we watched this video. You guys know, and we started with, you guys know this is our crew. You guys know this guy. That guy looks over, oh no, he's running through the window. Our guy just hit the ground. Right? We share a little bit about the injuries. Everybody knows him and his family. This is why we're going to talk about fall protection today, or ladder safety. You fall from 9 feet, you hit the ground in 3/4 of a second, traveling 16 miles an hour, and your body feels 3,600 pounds of force. I show that 9 feet because look at where he's falling from. These are statistics on an unrestrained fall, right? One guy in that meeting connected with the video. The other 2 guys in that meeting connected with these statistics, right? Who's going to connect with what? But they all found a new why. Why tying off the ladder is so important, right? Setting it up is so important. We identified that ladder just, that extension, it didn't latch. He fell because the ladder just started to collapse, and then down he went when it finally caught. This roofing contractor then said, we work from 16 feet a lot. It takes you 1,001 to hit the ground. And when you feel 3 tons of force, 6,400 pounds, you may not go home. 1 second to change your world and your families and everybody here at this company, right? 1 second. And they saw that video. They saw how quick he hit the ground. Starting with why, right? You start with something like that, now you hold up your harness and say, this is why we're going to talk about fall protection. And you've got people now listening. You've got people connecting with, I don't want those injuries. Right? Why? Why is most important. I love this. So you've got a lot of people who've been in the industry for quite a while, and they feel like I've been doing this forever. Right? What could go wrong? Right? How ironic. Things happen. It might not even be your fault. Somebody bumps you off the roof or off the scaffolding, right? It may not have anything to do with how safe you are. All right, so let's take a little dive into our IIPP. Here's a link that you could go to, and this link is also on my resource page. So you don't have to scan this now. We'll send this out. But this is where you can go to see what is required in an injury and illness prevention program. Who can raise their hand and say they have one? All right? So some of you do have one, you just don't know it, or you don't know where it is. It's required. OSHA will get you in a heartbeat if you don't have one. Here's where you can go to create one if you don't have one. Okay, you can go to this link. This is also on my resource page. Go to that link, create the IIPP. What is it? Okay, I don't know if you remember one of those first slides. I've highlighted accountability. The IIPP is the accountability piece of your safety program. It is written. This is what we do. This is when we do it. This is how we do it. Here's who's responsible for it. Your IIPP is your safety program. You don't have to create some special program. It's already there. You have it. Here are the elements required in an IIPP. Anybody familiar with these? Yeah? When you are looking at an accident or a near miss or an injury, We should be looking at these to see what failed, right? You do your accident investigation, you get some witness statements, you see what happened, and when you have all those details, you start to dissect where we failed. We did something wrong, or we didn't do something we should have done. But instead of being led into safety, we were led into an accident because, and I'll bet you it was multiple things. So here's an example of what I hear. I sit on safety committees, and we're reviewing accidents all the time. John got something in his eye, piece of wood in his eye. We had training on eye protection last week. He signed it. Employees just don't listen. Right? That's how we break down the accident. Employees just don't listen. I was listening to this book. I listen to books. I don't read them. I was listening to this book by a couple of Marines. No, I'm sorry, Navy SEALs. And I was touched by how personal these guys take it when somebody is injured. When somebody is injured, even if it's not fatal. When somebody's injured on one of their missions, they take it so personal. Leadership. So accountability, I highlighted accountability on that previous slide, and we're going to talk more about it. But we have to look in the mirror. When somebody is injured, what could I have done to prevent that? Did my training suck? Right? We trained him last week. Right? That's on the record. Uh-oh, I did the training. My training didn't create a different behavior, didn't change behavior. Right? My training sucked. Maybe he didn't have glasses, and he needed the glasses that he asked for. Right? Maybe nobody paid attention, didn't make him put them on. I say I love that, but I find it humorous when a foreman, tries to act like he had no fault in it when he saw the guy working without his safety glasses. Why didn't he stop him? Here's another little tune for you. Right? That's what the leaders should be saying. It's my fault. Right? I should have corrected the behavior. I should have trained better. I should have checked in. Right? I should have checked in on that task. Just see. Okay? Accountability. All right, so the leadership lens. What's my role in the IIPP? Right? What are your thoughts? What's your role in the IIPP?
Enforcement.
Yeah, enforcing it.
Ensuring everybody understands.
Say it again.
Ensure everybody understands it.
Yep, that is accountability, right? The enforcement, the checking in, the making sure they understand, clear communication. What did you say?
Literally.
Same thing.
That it's accessible. Sometimes they have it, but it's at the office or it's somewhere that no one can.
Yeah. Do they know? Do they know who to ask for? Right? Do they know how to correct it? That's all part of it. Do they know how? Right? That's our role as leaders. We need to understand the IIPP. What does it say? It's the handbook. Right? When you've got to build your project, you look at your plans. That's your handbook for the job. When we've got to do safety, we need to look at the handbook. We've got this great resource, the IIPP, but we always just kind of fly by the seat of our pants. All right, so I built an IIPP. I'm not a roofing contractor. But it's 4 pages. So all 8 of those elements are pretty simple. This is not complicated. But I just wanted to highlight that, you probably pay $1,500. They give you a big old binder. You spend a couple $100 copying it, more binders in every job site trailer, in every truck, right? You spend all this money to get it out there. Why? Usually compliance. OSHA said I had to, right? But use it. It is a great resource. It's your safety program, right? Train on it. So after you've rolled out your why, right? We all saw the guy fall off the ladder. After we've rolled out our why, just mention it. Our injury and illness prevention program says that we train. And so we're going to train on, right? Just talk about it. Let them know that this thing exists for a reason. This is our program. All right, so let's go to how to use it. So we talked about baseball at the beginning. Think about baseball players at a young age. I teach these boys, you have to know how to throw, you have to know how to catch, you have to know how to hit the ball. Otherwise, you are not going to play baseball very long. You've got to know how to do those things. They're a must. Okay? I don't just show them a YouTube video and then say, good luck. What am I doing? That's setting them up for failure, right? Good luck. That's how a lot of our trainings on the job are. Right? That's how a lot of our trainings are. Here's a video, or I might even just read it to you. Right? Repetition. So out on that baseball field, I'm hitting 1,000 ground balls at these boys. Right? We're taking 100 swings a day. Repetition, repetition, repetition. We're practicing like crazy. Now, that's easy to do in a baseball league because you practice 2-3 days a week. You play 2 days a week. You guys are playing every day. Every day, right? When do we find time to practice? When do we find time to implement the training? Practice what we train. That's tough. It's easy for me to say up here, but you're the ones who have to do that. How do we train them? How often? Right? But practice, I love this, practice makes permanent, right? If I'm going to hit an 80 mile an hour fastball, I cannot think about what my hips are doing, what my hands are doing. It has to be a permanent swing. I've done it a million times. I don't even have to think about it. Now I'm thinking about where he's delivering from, right? The spin on the ball. You can't, multitasking, that's a whole nother lesson. We have to make some of this stuff permanent. So think about, in your organizations, your line of work, what's a must, okay? There was this one game I put this kid into pitch, and he could not pick a guy off. He could not hold him on. So every time he'd pitch, they're stealing bases, right? The players are getting mad at our pitcher because he can't hold a runner on. But whose fault is it? Why'd the coach put him on the mound if he couldn't hold a runner on, right? That was my fault. So I had to tell the team at the end of the day, guys, it's not his fault. I shouldn't have put him there. He wasn't prepared, right? He didn't know. There's way too much to think about on the mound when you're just trying to throw a strike, right? He didn't have a chance. It was me. I'm the problem, it's me. All right? Repetition, practice, practice, practice. So at that level baseball, I make it very clear. Everybody wants to pitch, but you cannot pitch if you can't throw a strike and you can't hold a runner on. You can't pitch. I'm sorry. I'm not going to put you out there. You will have no fun and we will lose. Okay? Catchers, you want to catch? You got to catch the ball. You got to be able to catch. First baseman, you got to be able to catch the ball. Right? So there's things that you have to do. Identify what those things are in your organization. What are an absolute must? I'm going to cut you from the team if you don't do these things. Okay? Draw that line in the sand. If you're a roofer and you're not wearing fall protection, you're gone. You can't play for us. It's a must. You cannot go up to the plate without your helmet on. You got to put your helmet on, right? It's a must. What are those things in your organization? And then draw some other lines. What can we give additional training on, right? If a kid's missing ground balls, that's fine. I can work on that. That's fine, right? But if he's not wearing his helmet at the bat, sorry, you can't hit. All right, did we miss anything on this slide? We already talked about when an accident injury occurs, what failed in the IIPP. Safety committees are one of my favorite conversations. So this is the slide, the shot of my IIPP, that fake one that I did. What's on this does not matter. It's my IIPP says that I have a safety committee. If you have a safety committee, Cal OSHA is going to want to see that that committee is doing some specific things. There's 7 items. You must do these things to be deemed a legit safety committee. If you're not doing these things, they will cite you, okay? I have heard safety professionals tell employers, don't do a safety committee because OSHA will fine you. And it blew my mind. I understand you have to do these things. But as a safety professional, I hoped that they would have said, let me help you do it right. Because a safety committee can make your organization so much better. I sit on a lot of these. I've sat on a lot of them. The last 4 years, I've probably sat on 100 of safety committee meetings. And your organization will expose so much weakness in these meetings. If you want to know where you're exposed, start a committee and start doing these 7 things. You will identify really quick what's wrong. Hence the title of this workshop, Leadership. Every committee I have sat on, it has gone right back to leadership. They start strategizing on what they're going to do out in the field so that people don't get stuff in their eyes, right? They're talking about how to prevent people from hitting the ground, how to set up ladders so that they don't injure themselves on a ladder. And it all ends up, as we keep digging, it all ends up down or up at leadership.
Can you define number 1 from a compliance standpoint?
Meets regularly, at least quarterly. They define that as at least quarterly. That link there will take you to this list as well. But look at that. If you had a committee working on all this, you think you'd identify some weakness? You think you'd be able to fortify where you're weak? And when you fortify your weaknesses, you become very well-rounded and strong, right? All right, so I get the question, who should be on my committee? This looks very expensive. If you're meeting monthly and you're having somebody from every level, it looks very expensive. So you've got to do it strategically, okay? The committees I've been on, I love upper management and middle management in every meeting. Leadership. The title of this course, Leadership. I like upper and middle management in every meeting. And then depending on your organization, some of your field management, your foreman or your crew leads, and some of your field employees. Right? Most likely you can't bring them all in every meeting, but you'll have them rotate so that everybody at some point in the year has been on the committee. Why do I want upper management and middle management in every meeting? Anybody got a guess?
Because they're the top leaders, they're really going to have that kind of push where you want to start at the top and work your way down, not vice versa. It's just going to statistically fail. So you get the involvement of your upper management and your middle management to see the issues. Maybe they're not being communicated, maybe they are being communicated, maybe they're being communicated differently.
Yeah.
So you get them involved and you get their engagement because their opinions are going to matter just like the guys out in the field.
Yeah.
So, and that's when you need that support, and if they're not engaged, it's a lot harder to get that support when they don't have that engagement already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think you get more buy-in from the field employees when you see in the day-to-day grind when you have upper and middle management there within the meetings, because then it shows that they value it as well.
Yeah.
And that's the key thing, because the guys that are doing it day in and day out, they see it all the time. And then when you have upper management or middle management within those meetings, then you're like, all right, so there is value within this. So then they're more amped to speak up.
Right. Yeah. Now, I hope this is a little leading. How much talking should upper management do in these meetings?
Not a lot.
Not a lot. A lot of listening, right? Why would field employees and field management come in and not want to say a word?
Because the culture's wrong.
Could have a cultural issue where they don't feel safe. Yeah. I was on one committee, we were identifying a safety program, a training program. We had some good trends, we knew where we were weak, and we identified some trainings that we wanted every employee to go through, and it was almost like this curriculum. And so then the superintendents, middle management, were tasked to work with the foreman and identify which employees in the field they would have come in. And it would be like one day a month, and they would do 3 months in a row. And we did the first one, and like 2 people showed up. And then we did the second one, and like 2 people showed up. And then the next committee meeting, we had some of those guys in the meeting. We said, "Why wouldn't you show up?" And he said, "I'm afraid I'll get in trouble." I'm afraid I'll get in trouble coming to the shop to be trained, right? And I looked around and I said, did everybody hear that? And I thanked him for his honesty and his candor, but did everybody hear that? Why is he afraid he's going to get in trouble coming into training? And then I asked him, what would make you feel better about coming in? And he said, I asked, why would you want to be out on the roof making your hourly wage when you could come in and make your hourly wage? He said, I'd rather be with my crew, right? I think I'm going to get in trouble here. I'd rather be with my crew. It's like a family to him. His crew was his posse. So we quickly made the decision, all right, so instead of like 3 people from each crew, let's just have a whole crew come in and do this training. And it worked beautifully, right? We got his feedback. And we also exposed a weakness in the organization. Our people are afraid to come in, right? We're doing something wrong with how we communicate, with how we work, right? Up at the top, we're struggling to work down below. Another thing I observed that I'll just share in these committee meetings is upper management, middle management, when they hear something from the field employee, they'll sometimes just jump on them about something they heard and what was wrong. We train on this. We do this. This is how we do it. We have to, has everybody heard stay in your lane? That is my phrase on these committee meetings. Stay in your lane. Because it's not your job to reprimand that field employee. It's the foreman's job. Okay? So if the superintendent hears or sees something out in the field, he needs to go straight to that foreman and let that foreman handle it. He's got the trust. He's got the relationship. All right? And the same with upper management. If the upper management hears it, he's got to go straight to his superintendent, who will go straight to the foreman. We've got to honor that ladder of trust and authority. We have to honor it. Okay? Now, this is not one size fits all. These are things that I've observed in these hundreds of safety committee meetings. Okay? Again, is that a good seed? You're going to go back and plant it? Was it any good? You may have a different way. You may have a different relationship with lower level employees, and you maybe can talk to them. But I would caution and I would recommend honoring that ladder of authority. Okay? So the leadership lens. What's my role on the committee? Okay? Do you see the why in that second bullet point? The why is so important in this committee. Why are we meeting? Why are we doing this? And you mentioned the communication. Upper management needs to hear, are things being communicated all the way out into the field? Right? That communication, are we all on the same page with why we're doing this? Are we able to articulate it? Right? The committee is going to get very good at articulating why. You're going to also realize that this safety committee becomes more of a risk management committee. we sat in a meeting where there were like 8 workers' comp claims, and they all had an element of fraud, right? They just weren't real claims, or it wasn't as bad as they were claiming. And there were probably 3 committee meetings where everybody was just complaining about all the fraud and how these employees were crooks. And at some point I said, who hired all these crooks? Right? Who let them in? We can't just blame the system. We can't just blame the crooks. We brought them in. And they quickly identified how to fix the hiring process, right? It wasn't just safety. It was like risk management. Are we bringing good people in? So you'll start to see that. What other departments you need to communicate with. Again, it exposes so many weaknesses in your organization. I love them. Okay, accountability. I feel like I'm going 100 miles an hour. Accountability. This is what accountability is not. When you think about the word accountability, what emotions come to you? What feelings? Okay?
Taking responsibility.
Take responsibility.
In your own power.
Is anybody scared? Nobody's scared of accountability.
Well, it can be scary if there's something severely wrong that happens and you're the one that needs to be accountable for it. That could be scary. You know.
Admitting it.
My wife is afraid of accountability.
We all almost held you accountable for that comment. That's funny. There's a lot of fear around accountability. You said it. I might be afraid to admit what I did. It can be very scary because of how we handle accountability. We hide, right? Like I tell my kids at home, everybody makes messes. Slobs don't clean them up, right? This guy's a slob. He's hiding. He's afraid. Don't be afraid. Is he a slob, or am I just a bad leader that he's afraid to admit his mistake to? Right? It'd be real easy for me, like I did. He's a slob. But maybe it's me. This is accountability. Anything goes wrong. Anything could have been done better. Your first step has to be to look in the mirror. How could I have changed that outcome? What could I have done differently? Right? And when I'm able to go to that employee and say, I'm sorry, I saw you without your eyeglasses on. I should have told you to put them on. Right? I'm sorry, I failed you. He's going to be a lot more willing to share, no, boss, I knew better. I should have worn my glasses. Right? When you open that door to be accountable yourself, they will do the same. And if they don't, at some point, they're going to leave. And I got a slide coming up where you'll see that. But accountability is all about building and strengthening trust. How do we do it? Right? The why is all about building and strengthening trust. The how is front-loading expectations, clarity. We have to have so much clarity that there's no question what success looks like. No question. And we've got to be checking in. Right? If I ask you to go do a task, I'm going to check in. How's it going? Is there any roadblock that you need me to remove so you can do that task? Is there anything I need to provide you so you can complete the task? Right? Do you just need some help? I'm checking in. I don't want to wait to the end to find out it was a failure. I'm checking in, giving many opportunities to ask for help. They know what success looks like. They might need help succeeding. As a leader, that's our role. We're a support. We support the ones doing the work. Right? We're not there to command and control. We're there to support. Help them. This is why I say somebody who doesn't like accountability will leave. So this is what accountability looks like. Even in the face of failure, accountability can look like this. How can we all have this hurrah moment if we failed? How do you lose and still have that outcome?
You learn from it.
Amen.
That's a lesson from that loss.
Yeah, we're not going to lose again. We just learned how to win, right?
Identify the opportunities.
Everybody's looking in the mirror. Everybody's learning and growing. And we're all rowing in the same direction. These light bulbs. I love talking about light when I'm talking about accountability. What can somebody give me the definition of darkness?
Absence of light.
Absence of light. Right? You don't bring darkness into a room. What do? You remove the light. Right? Sometimes we put blinds on the windows, put curtains on the windows, dimmers, switches. Okay? Darkness would be like no accountability. When you start embracing accountability as an organization, it's like turning the lights on. It's like removing the blinds. Right? There's still a shadow back there. I'm either going to put a new light up or maybe I need to remove this obstruction. What's preventing light from reaching every aspect of our organization? And when you start turning on lights, what happens to darkness? Do you have to make it leave? It's gone. People who don't embrace accountability will leave. Some of them might go unwillingly and you might have to fire them, but most will just leave. I don't like it here. They make me be accountable. Okay, so incentives. At my house, 6 kids, there are a lot of rooms to clean. A lot of rooms to clean, but a lot of hands to help with the cleaning. My kids are convinced I had so many kids because I didn't want to do chores. I could have fewer rooms, do it myself faster and better, right? Kids, I'm not going to argue with you. Here's what's expected. Here's what the reward looks like. And here's what the failure looks like. Okay? So, I come down on a Saturday. We got 2 hours. Get your rooms clean, your bathrooms clean. Go. I come down 2 hours later. Everybody's sitting around, look in the room. Nothing's done. Why isn't it done? They're like, what are you talking about? It's done. And I'm like, no, it's not. They're like, yes, it is. And everybody's frustrated. And now I'm mad and I'm yelling. And they're watching their show and they're mad and getting up because I'm interrupting their show. The next week, this is true. This is a true story. The next week, I come down because I took a look in the mirror. I'm like, I'm the accountability guy. That was terrible. 2 hours, get it done. The next week I come down. Okay, guys, we've got 2 hours. Here's what a clean room looks like. And we go into one of the rooms. Make your bed. Put the clothes in the drawers. Put the clothes in the dirty ones in the hamper. Open your closet, right? I walk through what I want done, what success looks like. Same thing in the bathroom. What success looks like. Your idea of clean didn't match mine. This is what success looks like. Very clear. If we get it done, we're going to Sunsplash. If we don't, I've got more I'd like to do. Boys, you'll be with me in the yard. Girls, you'll probably be in the kitchen with mom. Very clear. Go. Now, I'm not getting distracted with my work. I can go do a little work, but I'm going from room to room. How's it going? Do you need any help? Do you have any questions? Yeah, Dad, we need help getting this in the closet. Yeah, what do I do with this? The little guys, I don't know if you remember that picture, the 2 little guys, you haven't done anything, right? So I start helping them, getting them going, prime the pump. And I'm going room to room. I'm checking in. How is it going? giving them every opportunity to succeed. At the end of the 2 hours, everybody come in. And my daughter's like, I'm not done yet. How can I help? Okay, everybody come in. Right? Because it wasn't really about the timeline. It was about, let's just get it going. Are we going to Sunsplash or are we staying to clean? And they're like, we're going to Sunsplash, because they knew what success looked like. I was there to help them. I was there to support them, remove roadblocks. Okay? Incentive programs should feel the same. We want to make it very clear how we incentivize, how are we encouraging, and also make it very clear the discipline if we fail. Because there is going to be some discipline with some failure. All right? I also want to point out how important it is to reward quickly and often. Quickly and often. So as I'm checking in, I'm giving little rewards, little feedback. This is looking good. You guys, this makes me happy seeing you doing this, right? Those are little rewards to them. Your people in the field, you could come up with similar ways to say, this is awesome. You guys are doing such a good job, right? Often and frequent and immediate is what I meant. Often and immediate. Give that positive feedback. This is also part of accountability as a leader. If we don't dish out the reward or the discipline, they are not going to trust when we offer a reward or discipline. They're going to know they can get away with it if we never discipline. They're going to know that they're never going to get rewarded. Why do it? Right? What's in it for me? So the leadership lens in accountability and building trust. Right? We have to look in the mirror. Do they trust me? Have I made it very clear what success looks like? And I've underlined embrace. Think of an embrace. I imagine a big bear hug. When you embrace something, right? We're wrapping our arms around it, pulling it in close. It's personal, almost intimate. Embrace accountability. Okay? Make it real. Do this. When I started learning about leadership development and accountability and communication, I didn't just become a better coworker. I became a better husband, a better father. This is why I love this stuff. Because you're going to start implementing some of this stuff at work, and people around you are going to become better. They're just going to become better. And that's our role as a leader. As we work on ourselves, they see that. And you're a safe person to follow. You're willing to look in the mirror. I'll follow you, right? I'll listen to you. I can trust you. We want a lot less of that and a lot more of that. There's nothing to hide from. Everybody makes messes, but slobs don't clean them up. And I'm here if you need help cleaning up a mess. Okay, so we're at our review slide. Is there anything we did not touch on? Any questions about why being most important? Your IIPP, a safety committee, accountability. Any questions? I think, again, this is most important. Figure this out. Figure this out for you. And then share that with others. It being the most important. People buy why you do what you do. All right. Back to where we started. When you take this information back to your organizations, don't just throw it out there. Listen to what I learned. This is what we're going to do. Okay? Prepare Prepare them. Prepare them for this. Get that soil nice and soft and ready. So when you plant that seed, it will grow. Okay? When you plant a garden, what grows? Weeds. You got to pull the weeds. Okay? Don't just plant these and see. Does Chad know what he's talking about? You might have to pull some weeds, right? Help that thing grow. And see if it's any good. All right? I'll take some questions if you have any. Here's a slide to the quiz, or the QR code to the quiz. I've got several risk management videos on YouTube. That's harmless. Go to my YouTube and check out some of the trainings you can use. I love fleet safety. You can use those with some of your drivers. We talk about safety on the job. How often are we talking about driver safety? Okay, so check that out too. But all these links are on my resource page. And then when I send these out, I'll give you that golden circle too. Okay. All right. Any questions?